picture this, everybody. You have a little stream coming down, tributary acres. You see these little streams coming down, and they start as little streams. And sometimes you say to yourself, is it worth it? All the work for the little stream. But then as you see the streams get bigger and bigger, and they start flowing together, and all of a sudden becomes a raging river. And that's what I want you to picture: a little property management stream, a little laundry stream, a little education stream, a little investor stream. All these streams are coming, and they start coming together, complementing each other, where the education student brings on, he's going to be an investor. And all of a sudden the streams come and you got a raging river.
Hello, everybody. This is Jake Stenziano, host of Wheelbarrow Props Podcast, here with my co-host, the multifamily mentor, the coach, chef, father of six, the best-selling author, the G-Daddy, hanging out in his mom's basement, Gino Barbaro. Gino, how's it going?
I'm doing the millennial thing today, right? I'm hanging out in my mom's basement. I'm doing great. I'm up here in New York. It is Thanksgiving week. We are talking honeybee this week, right? We've got a great promotion. Jake's going to talk all about it. You can leave us a review. We're going to give you a free micro course. That's exciting. But the book itself has gotten so many great reviews because it's really a parable about how to get unstuck in your business, how to find those multiple streams of income, and how to do what you like, right? We love continuing to add on different layers into our business. From that one little multifamily property, Jake, we created a little, I would say, mini empire, multiple different streams of revenue. And it's been a lot of fun. We've created a culture. We've created a brand out of multifamily. And this book is going to give you the blueprint on how to do that.
Yeah, and it's great because it is, as Gino said, it's a parable. It's in story format, and it takes Noah on his journey from being at the end of the corporate whip to providing a life of abundance for him and his family, and all the steps and all the stings that he took to get there. So, Gino, let's jump right in. Building your hive. Tell me about this lesson.
Learn to ask who instead of how. Now, Jake, I think this is one of the biggest pain points for us, because you're looking at two I'm a guys right now.
That's right.
And I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. And I'm going to tell everybody, this is the hardest thing of being an entrepreneur, because the definition of an entrepreneur to me and to Rick Sapio, who taught this to us, is anyone who takes responsibility. And it's really hard when you're running around doing everything because you're so responsible and you're in that mode and you're bootstrapping it. But to get it to the next level, you need to think, how am I going to grow? So as an entrepreneur, as you're starting with, you have to start with the end in mind. Getting into multifamily, you're scaling a business. You're getting it there because you can hire employees, you can scale up. But when you first start, you're running around like Jake, collecting the rent checks. You're out there hiring. You're out there getting the resident manager. You're out there helping with the turns. You're out there doing all the work, but we get lost. So you have to ask yourself, who can do that instead of how can I do that? Who can help me get to the next level? Is it a property management company? Is it a landscaper? Instead of me going out there mowing the lawns? Is it a plumber? Is it a painter? Ask who instead of how.
You don't know what you don't know. And it's great that you're here with us today, because Gino and I have basically documented everything from the beginning of our careers till now. And we didn't know what we didn't know in the beginning. And that's why I was running around trying to mow the lawn, collecting rent. And we basically committed to our education. We practice what we preach. We invest a ton into our education monthly. And it's just a learning curve. So if you're here now, just know that if you're doing the I'm a mentality, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, I'm going to do everything, that's okay, because you're obviously a hard worker and you're looking to expand your mind. But you need to start working on the machine and building a sustainable machine that doesn't need you. That is the top of the mountain. That's where you're trying to climb to get to, and having a team around you that is essentially a well-oiled machine, making it happen day in and day out. And that's part of the journey that Noah takes in the honeybee.
I like Jake to share the story with Jim Clayton. And this personifies make it happen. And this personifies, well, hold on a second, you can't do everything. I think it's a great story on that. Jake, why don't you share that with us?
Yeah, so we were financing a 281 unit property, and this was the one that really leapfrogged, for Gino and myself in our investing career. And I was sitting there in Aubrey's in Knoxville. It was 2015. It was in the summertime, and I was there with the broker and Jim Clayton. And for the folks of you out there who don't know who Jim Clayton is, he sold his mobile home business to Warren Buffett for over $3 billion many years ago. So he's the most successful mobile home manufacturer. They had mobile home communities, just a phenomenal entrepreneur. And I learned so much from Jim. But during that lunch, I was there, talking about my business plan to Jim. And I said, it doesn't matter if any of the people within the system, don't perform, because I'm right there to back them up, and I'll take the checks to the bank. I'll go turn a unit if I have to, whatever it is, we are going to get this done. And we're going to make sure that this deal performs, and we're closers. And he said, Jake, I love your enthusiasm. I love your business plan. And I get it. We did the same thing in the mobile home communities. He liked when we were talking about rubs, but he said, what I'm worried about is you. And I was like, how are you worried about me? I'm the guy sitting here telling you I'm going to do everything no matter what. And he said, I think you have a lot of potential, and you need to work on systems, and you need to work on scale. And that punched me in the gut, because I thought, no, I just work harder and do more myself, and that's how things go. That's not it. And I'm, man enough to sit here and admit it, that I was wrong at that point in my career, and I didn't know any better. And so from that point in August of 2015, I made it my mission to work on the machine, started working on systems and working on scaling our business more so than I even had an awareness of. So if you're here with us now and you're in that same spot, start with the honeybee, because that will take you on your journey. And then you can get into EOS, and then you can get into scaling up, and then some of the Michael Gerber stuff, and that will take you to the next level. And it takes many years. We're still in the mud. We're still in the thick of it right now in terms of our business evolution. And I think it's constant and ongoing.
I'm going to share the story with the listeners about the evolution of Jake and Gino, how we started, because it's very similar to Jake. I quit the restaurant. I went into full-time in Jake and Gino, and Jake was doing the property management. So I was able to leverage some of the income coming in from the properties. And I said, I love this Jake and Gino thing. I love creating a community. I found sort of my sole purpose. So I said, Jake, let's write the book. I think it was my idea about writing the book, the first one. This is Jake's idea. But I said, let's write the book. And we had already the podcast going, and I already started writing the articles. My next idea was, how do we monetize this? Well, I'm going to create the content. I'm going to be the salesperson. I'm going to be the customer service. I'm going to do this. And I said, Jake, there's not enough hours in a day. I can't sell my own product. I need help. So one of the best things I ever did was I hired Josh as the community director and to help with the sales. One of the best things I've ever done, because I couldn't do it all. Josh comes in, we started implementing systems. And what are systems? We started implementing Google Docs. We started implementing expectations. We started implementing a customer journey, a customer experience. We started small. And every week we built upon it and built upon it and built upon it, until the point we said to ourselves, Jake and I have to stop coaching, because we can't coach just ourselves. Jake was getting worn out because he was running property management day to day, and I'm doing the coaching with him. So we said, we need to start hiring coaches. So as luck would have it, I was at an event, and everyone out there, I challenge everyone out there, you need to go to live events. You need to go to meetups, because I met Bill Ham there. And Bill was in the middle of not coaching, and he says, you know what, I'll be your coach. Another commit and figured out. I had no idea how to scale our coaching and create the coaching model. And it's a scary thing, because it's letting go, because I was doing all the coaching. I love to interact with the students. So I pulled back a little bit, and I hired our first coach. Then from there, we hired another coach. Then we started our syndication company, which actually brought Dylan on board, which helped us with our syndication, our investors, and we learned the syndication model. Dylan became a coach. Then we were fortunate to bring on Jennifer Ulrich, who's a rock star, business operations, because Jake and I sometimes are a little more visionary. We're not the integrators, so she pulls everything through and helps us pull everything through. She did an amazing event on Multifamily Mastery 2 in Nashville last year. So Jake says, she's great. I think she'd be a great fit. We love working with her. We brought her on, and then Multifamily Mastery 3 went off, I would say, almost without a hitch. It was an amazing job that she did. But just bringing the whole customer journey, the whole customer experience, and bringing our ideas, and all of a sudden marketing comes in. Then the next hire is Kyle Grimm, who is a student success specialist, who's really our customer service arm. So as you see, everybody, this is the evolution. This has been going on for the last 3 years. It doesn't have to happen overnight. And you're going to
You just skipped over 7 coaches too.
Well, yeah, I want to fast forward this, because I don't want to, but as you can see, but we hire one coach at a time, one coach at a time. And the most important thing that I'm going to tell everybody is 3 things. It's people, it's systems, and it's culture. You have to create your culture. What are your core values? I love our core values, but one of our biggest core values is people first. And we put that first because our people in our communities are our education students, our residents, and our investors out there. So those are the people. We put them first, and then we hire from that. And I always thought, like Jake says, it was poo-poo, but it's really important to become crystal clear on that, because you hire and you fire on that. So when you think of who instead of how, think about what kind of core values you want and what your mission statement is to your company. Because I'm going through all these different companies right now, whether it's Zappos, whether it's Starbucks, whether it's Apple, whether, it's Zendesk. All these companies have their own core values. They're really quirky and culture, and they hire and fire on that. And even with your virtual assistants and even with your 1099 employees, you don't want your landscaper saying to you, as far as us, we make it happen and unwavering ethics. You know what? I can't get there this week. You don't want that, because you don't want your landscaper saying it's not my job. You want your landscaper saying to you, at least for our company, how do we do that? We're going to figure that out.
A classic, even the landscaper, I'll go to our Hammond property right now. The folks that do that, they say the exterior is ours. We're responsible for this stuff, and you let us know if you need something. So it's that type of service that trickles down throughout. And you may be a solopreneur right now. I think that's the term they use in the space, where you have yourself and maybe some 1099 folks, or you have one employee, and you may be poo-pooing this. And we did it early on. And when I'm saying this, I'm talking about the culture aspect of it. Work on the culture stuff now, get that implemented and integrated now, and then let that expand throughout what you do, because that's going to really drive and dictate your results. It sounds crazy. When I was in corporate, I said, this is BS. I didn't buy into it. Gang, it is everything. Do not poo-poo the culture, and make sure that it's a culture, based around morality and good ethics if you want to sustain and grow your business. I think that's so important. I
love that. And one more thing about learn to ask who instead of how. Don't be afraid to partner with people, whether it's an individual deal or it's maybe something broader where you want to start a company. If you want to start a property management company and you're a real estate investor and you see a property management person out there, bring them on. Give them equity, but make sure it's fair. Make sure they can create value for value. And Jake and I are partners, and we hold each other accountable. So when on a Friday afternoon at 4:30, Jake calls me up and says, we need to make this phone call, he probably wouldn't make it on his own. I know I wouldn't make it on my own, but both of us jumping on a call hold ourselves accountable, and we do it together. So maybe asking instead of who, instead of how, you find a partner out there. Think of all the tasks that you do in your job and your company right now. Think of the ones you can outsource. Think of the ones that are truly important, or the ones that are always going to generate that revenue, or those top end tasks that are really, really important. Everything else, you can start outsourcing it a little bit at a time. And it's baby steps. You don't have to do everything in the next 6 months. Maybe you set up quarterly, move the needle on one thing every quarter, because then you're going to say to yourself, wow, I can do this. And then things will start snowballing where you can get things done quicker. And as you start hiring more people, our problem is that we start throwing so much stuff on the wall and we want to get things done so quickly. Pull back, take your time. You'll figure this out. As long as you have a plan and you have great people around you, it can happen.
Yeah. And the real, to use one of Gino's terms, is the smell test. If you start to find stuff that's taking energy from you instead of giving you energy, that's the stuff that you want to start to delegate. And it doesn't have to be all at once. We bootstrap the crap out of our career. So I don't want you to think that we're saying bootstrapping and hustling in the beginning is bad. We hustle and bootstrap to this day. I just know that if you can find more time to do the stuff that you're good at and that gives you energy, that's going to make for a better life for yourself, and you're probably going to be executing better. Bootstrapping is fine, but as you can start to delegate that stuff out. A classic example was our first book. First book we wrote, Gino and I were up an hour early every day, comparing notes, writing it before we got our day started, because I was working at a W-2 job. He was working at the restaurant. So you have to find ways to do it. Early on, you may have to put in 16-hour days to get to where you want to be. That's okay, because the end is totally worth it when you get to a point of financial freedom and being in control of your life. So put the work in for 3 to 5 years, make it happen, start to build out your systems. It's okay. It's the folks that don't sacrifice that time, though, that are not going to get there. We're just trying to accelerate the process for you. I think that's the key.
I'm going to give you one more example before we move on to lesson 5. When we started our first podcast, do you know who was editing that podcast? Jake Stenziano. And that was a soul-sucking 2 to 3 hours a week.
Dude, I'm the ultra tech guy. What are you talking about, man?
I remember him talking about it and saying, and it's not the 2 to 3 hours a week. Like he said, he had something that we like to fool around with. We call blaze energy right now. The kind of energy where it would ruin his whole day. I remember Thursday the podcast would come out. He'd have to do it the day before, and he'd waste all that time. And that's not the best use of Jake's time. The best use of Jake's time is out there coaching employees, looking at deals, underwriting deals, negotiating contracts, recording podcasts. That $15 or $20 an hour editing of the podcast, you can find somebody else to do that. And you know what that led us to do? We've got 4 shows now a week that we can do that. So you can either do one show a week and edit it yourself, or you can think long-term and create multiple shows or do other tasks. So I thought that was one of our first hires for Jake and Gino as far as a 1099 or a virtual assistant, someone editing the podcast. So something that small all of a sudden released Jake from doing something he truly hates, doing something he truly loves.
I was really bad at it too.
Well, that's why it took you 2 or 3 hours, right? You were bad at it because you didn't like it, right? But that's the thing. So focus on things that you don't like. And it's okay if you don't like everything. In the beginning, we did the editing of the podcast. We did the thumbnails. We did a lot of the stuff for the podcast. But as you start growing and you see there's potential, start thinking about ways to get that over to somebody else, and you can focus on generating revenue for the business.
The cool thing as well is we basically have learned how to do everything within our businesses. So if someone tries to like, say, oh, this is too hard, or they try to like, complain about like little BS things, we've been there. So we can really, kind of call their bluff on it, because there's nothing that we haven't or are not willing to do on a day-to-day. So G-Dad, commit to your core. The best streams feed each other. Tell me more.
My boy, Mr. Stenziano, likes to say, stick to your lane. It's truly important that you stick to your lane. And if you're in single family homes, commit to them. Don't dabble in multi and go back to single and go back to commercial and go back to self-storage. Really stick to your lane. And we love our lane because of the tax benefits, because of the demographics, because of everything that's going on. People are going to be renting. When Fox News and Forbes and everyone starts talking about millennials and how baby boomers are just deciding not to buy homes anymore because they're not investments, it's not the American dream anymore. It's getting into the psyche and the subconscious of the popular culture that house is not an investment anymore. So that's really important. So stick to your lane. Think about, what is your core business? Our core business was really investment properties, multifamily properties. That was our core business. Now, Jake can go over the multiple different streams of revenue within that core business, whether it's laundry, whether it's late fees, whether it's self-storage. That's important. And parking. Let's look at your core business. And then from there, let's expand it out. So in our business, I'm holding up a book here. First thing was the property management. So we created a complementary business, a stream of business from our core business, which was multifamily. The stream was brand property management. That was the first stream. The second stream was we did an education company, which was Jake and Gino. We started writing a book. Then we started doing a podcast. Then we started doing blogs. Then we created an educational platform and all the media going along with that. While that was going on, we decided to, hey, let's start a syndication company. That was another stream of revenue. Hey, let's start a capital company. We can start doing mortgages for our students. So what you can see there, they're all complementary. Jake didn't say, let's go start a car wash, or let's go start any other business, a restaurant. Now, what we can do is you can start a roofing company, because a roofing company can help your multifamily business. It's complementary. You can use them on there. You want to start a little CapEx company, a construction company with somebody else, an HVAC company that goes out, a trash valet company that goes and takes care of your properties. And if you want to start going out and servicing other multifamily properties, or let's say a cleaning company, what's going to clean your multifamily properties. And then if you want to create additional revenue, maybe go on to other properties, it needs to be complementary. You need to stay in your lane. So if you're a business out there, whether you're a restaurant, I can do the same example as a restaurant. When I had my restaurant, I wrote a cookbook. I started doing educational videos. I wanted to do physical products where I was selling cutlery and knives and garden bags. I was going out there doing weddings and events, catering events off the side of the property. I actually wanted thinking of getting a food truck so I could go to a food truck and create that business. You see how they're all complementary? They're all going back to the core business. The core business is there. And then from there, you start breaking it out and looking what those complementary streams are. But they need to feed each other. So in the book, picture this, everybody. You have a little stream coming down, tributary acres. You see these little streams coming down, and they start as little streams. And sometimes you say to yourself, is it worth it? All the work for the little stream. But then as you see the streams get bigger and bigger, and they start flowing together, and all of a sudden it becomes a raging river. And that's what I want you to picture. A little property management stream, a little laundry stream, a little education stream, a little investor stream. All these streams are coming, and they start coming together, complementing each other, where the education student brings on, he's going to be an investor. And all of a sudden the streams come and you got a raging river. It doesn't happen overnight, but within 3 to 5 years, like Jake and I did, that river can become really massive.
Yeah, and they're all serving the greater purpose of multifamily properties. So you can do it in many different businesses. It just doesn't have to be ours, but everything that we're doing is complementary to our core business of multifamily properties, and it's all serving in that space. So we're not only growing the streams, but we're becoming experts at more and more individual pieces of the greater machine. So it's really been helpful, and it's really lowered our costs in a lot of ways because we understand all of these little intricate businesses, because multifamily is the ultimate business within a business. There's so many businesses within just the multifamily space. So it's really helped us out tremendously. All right, gang, let's take a quick time out to hear from our sponsor. Gino, I know a lot of our listeners are wanting to take their multifamily investing business to the next level. I know that you've been hard at work helping Jake and Gino students do just that using our framework. Can you explain to the listeners how they can get our help?
Guys, we've been hard at work growing our community of like-minded investors, and the results of our members has been nothing short of incredible. We're looking to grow this amazing group. What we're looking for is those who want to follow our proprietary framework that we've created. Buy right, manage right, and finance right. Leverage our connections, education, and mentorship as ways to take your business to the next level.
So if you're interested in finding out more about how you can become a part of our amazing community, apply to work with us at jakeandgino.com/apply. All right, and we are back. Gino, our final one for today: create streams of purpose. Money isn't your reason, it only funds it.
This is a difficult one for me because when I first started, didn't have a lot of money, right? We were thinking about surviving. We're thinking about paying the bills. We're thinking about just, accumulating things for our family. And we didn't think on the outside. And I was fortunate because I was already doing a lot of fundraising. I was always a benefactor for certain groups, but I couldn't give as much as I wanted to, right? I always had to pause and think, you know what, can I give this month or can I give this quarter? Once you start growing these streams and these streams become real rivers, your core purpose and your mission statements should guide where you want these streams to go, these streams of purpose. So for us, it was simple. Jake loves to feed little kids. He thinks little kids should not go hungry. So that's why we created Rand Cares. And Rand Cares was created to do that, to feed hungry kids during Thanksgiving. We sold a lot of swag during the Multifamily Mastery 3. We donate a lot of that money also to the food bank. So that's one of them. For me, I just like coming up here and donating money to different people, whether, not even donating. Let's say somebody needs to go on vacation. They can't afford a plane ticket. It's such a good feeling to be able to write that money and help people out in that respect. So for me, trying to help others, trying to help family members, that's my way of giving back and being purposeful with my money.
Yeah, this would have never happened for myself, being stuck in the W-2 corporate realm. I wasn't, doing things charitable like this at the time. But it even goes back to the core values, because people ask, and it's a silly thing to me, but I think it's just because maybe they haven't experienced in their lives, but, why do you guys keep pushing? Why do you guys, keep expanding the businesses? And it all comes back to this greater core purpose that we've identified for ourselves. And that's to improve the lives of others by creating communities that allow people to become the best versions of themselves. And that's what really gives us juice, because we really believe in excellent customer service and we believe in giving back. So this year alone, we're going to feed, close to, if not more than 20,000 kids for this Thanksgiving. We partnered. So this is the cool thing about Rand Cares, is that I was passionate about making sure kids have food, because I feel that kids don't have a choice. So that I was very passionate about that. But there's folks within our organization that say, hey, we want to do more than just feed kids. So it's like, hey, run with it. Great. And you want to talk about a great culture builder. Rand Cares has been one of the best culture builders for us. So we're out there, building playgrounds this year. Gino's up there, doing additional meals at Thanksgiving in New York. And it just has become this great culture builder for our team. And that doesn't happen if we don't have the success we've had in multifamily to then be able to give back. But it goes beyond just the charitable contributions. We want everybody that's invests with us to have a great experience. We want everyone that lives in our communities to have a great experience. We want everyone that comes through our education platform to have a great experience. So that's what it's all about, and just making the world a better place based on our entrepreneurship.
Jake, I'm going to give a few quotes to people, and I want people really to stop and think and write these down, because for us, this quote for me resonated once I became financially free. And I said to myself, okay, now that my bills are covered, what is my sole purpose? What do I want to do? So for me, it's profit is the fuel. It's not the destination. right now, Jake and I are not driven by making a draw every month. That's not our ultimate goal. We obviously want to see the business doing better and better, but we're taking a lot of short-term hits for the long-term viability of the business. And the more money we can make in the long term, the more people we can employ, the more people that we can actually have at Rand Cares, because that's a huge culture builder for our employees. Employees obviously want to have a great place to work, but they want to contribute also. And a lot of times they can't contribute monetarily. They don't have the time. They have families. So if we can do it on our time and we can bring the employees together and build a playhouse for the community, or, work at a soup kitchen, whatever that may be, that's part of the whole company of what Rand Cares is all about. And for me, the one that really stuck for me when I became financially free was money is the cause. It's not the result. Right? Money's not the cause, it's the result. So if you're thinking about money, when you get money, if you're working for money and that's all you're focusing on, it doesn't work that way. The more value that you can add to people, right? That's how you're going to make more money. And it's like the go-giver principle, just to continue to give and to give and to give. You're going to get back in this economy, because the more value that you can provide to people, the better off it is. And like Jake said, when you're growing the company, people say to me, well, you know what, you can take time off. And I was joking with my wife yesterday. She goes, why do you keep growing and why do you keep working harder? And I said, you either grow or you die, right? If once I'm ready to pack it in, I'm going to sell every single thing and just forget about it. And I don't think I'll ever do that, because I'm having a lot of fun and it's something that I'm learning every day.
You have a purposeful life though.
Yes, exactly. So, and people say, well, don't you want to go on vacation? I'm in New York right now. To me, this is vacation. I live on vacation. I don't need to vacate my life. I love my life. So that's the whole idea. People who look to go on vacations, I'm sorry to say, tend not to like their lives. So I'm not escaping from anything. I mean, is it hard? Obviously, Josh gets me going on calls at 8 p.m. at night. It's not all sunshine and rainbows. I'm not making not to be that way, but it's actually a pretty cool call when you're doing a mastermind with 8 other people who are doing an amazing job. And one of them is quitting their job and the other one's buying a deal and the other one's asking questions and they're all engaged. That is really awesome to do something like that, as far as my example. So I'm not really working for money in the sense that, hey, I want paper money. I'm working to grow these businesses that are going to continue to feed us and continue to feed the families that we employ. And we get to be really much better. We get to empower more students and more residents. And that's what I think Rand Cares and, brand is all about.
Yeah. And really, like, if you look at it, for Gino and myself, our customers are our employees, because we need to make sure that they're taken care of so that they're going out and taking care of the end user. And I think that's where a lot of the success comes from, because we have great culture and it trickles down to, ultimately the end user of the final product. So
Jake,
John, this was awesome, man. I appreciate it.
Thank you. I'm going to recap the lessons just really quick for everybody, because I think everyone needs to listen to these. I want you to write them down and really think about them for the next few minutes after you listen to this recording. Obviously, we want you to go to the Honeybee. Right now, it's 99 cents on Kindle, on Amazon.
Just giving away the farm, this guy, man. I can't ever, it should be like $50. All right.
I love it. You know why? Because all we want you to buy it. We want you to read the book. If you could leave a review, that'd be awesome. Take a screen grab of the review and send it over to Gino@jakeandgino.com, and I'll send you over a free micro course from the Jake and Gino education platform. We'd love you to do that. The first lesson, everybody, escape the honey trap. This is important. This is a mind shifter. Transactions don't create wealth. Equity does. The second one is find your surplus. Every stream has a source. The third one is what Jake personifies. Make it happen. Every source of honey comes with a few stings. The best antidote is action. Number 4 is build your hive. Learn to ask who instead of how. Number 5 is commit to your core. The best streams feed each other. And the last one, number 6, create streams of purpose. Money isn't your reason. It only funds it.
Boom, shakalaka, brother, man. This was awesome. G-Dad, we're out of here.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Thanks, Jake.
Happy Thanksgiving. See you, gang.
Bye.